Well, first of all, I'm so happy to be here. This is my first time actually in Athens in Greece, period. So I'm extremely excited for that. As far as the drumming community, you said?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of up and coming drummers that are dope that's coming up. I mean, I'm glad that I'm still around, and you know, I've been really thankful for that. As far as like traveling and being able to still do like clinics and master classes and stuff, I think that's great to be able to go and meet, you know, some new drummers I haven't, you know, seen before is always great. Yeah, and I'm just happy to be here, you know, and as far as the drumming community, I just feel like all of us are still sticking together, and I think that's basically what we should be doing, and to continue to do that. I would most definitely have to say live, just because you can, you know, feel the energy of the crowd, and also being able to play with an artist, and it allows you to be a little bit more free as well. You know, in the studio, you have to play exactly what the artist or the producer wants you to do, which is not a bad thing. You know, you're still getting paid at the end of the day, but to be able to, you know, just have that live performance and for it to be recorded and for people to really see and go back and watch what you did, and you know, it's just a completely different feel. So I most definitely prefer live over studio. I mean, for me, it's somewhat important, you know, depending on, you know, what I'm playing. Obviously, if I'm playing jazz, you know, to be able to use like the Molo technique, or really be able to use your dynamics, you know, and that comes with technique as well. Because some people, it's funny, but some people can't play soft, and then a lot of people can't really play loud, which is, you know, crazy depending on the sticks you use and everything. So I mean, it plays a certain role, but you know, people can get by with it. It's not that big of a deal, you know. But it's always good to have some of a good technique, just for injury purposes. You know, you don't want to, you know, get carpal tunnel if you're holding the sticks too, you know, too tight, or you don't get the right rebound because you're holding the stick way too far back, and you know, just different, you know, little things like that. That's stuff that you should, you know, be able to work on. If you have any questions about it, ask somebody who knows. It's really important. I mean, I don't think you should ever limit yourself, you know. And you know, coming up, my father used to just play all styles of music, you know, when I was younger. Jazz, Latin, hip hop, you know, funk, even country music. And you know, as a drummer, as a musician, you never know what opportunities lies ahead of you, you know. And if you don't have, you know, a certain skill set, like you don't know how to play funk, or you don't know how to play Latin music, and you never know, a major Latin artist might come by and be like, hey, you're a drummer, I heard you play, can you play this? And then what you're gonna say, no, I can't, you know. And that happens a lot, you know, but that might not be your cup of tea. But you know, I think it's really important to be able to just broaden your horizons and listen to as much things as possible, you know, as a musician in general, because that also helps you with your musicality, playing the style of music that you do like to play, because everything is incorporated, you know, everything is based off of each other to a certain degree. So don't limit yourself. I mean, you could discipline yourself. Well, you don't have to discipline yourself after not getting called back for something, or people firing you. I mean, I haven't been fired or not called back, but I've seen it happen. That in itself would absolutely help you discipline yourself. And then listening to other musicians who are very famous for playing grooves, or just playing what the music, you know, needs. For example, like Steve Jordan, or Steve Gadd, or any of these drummers who just have solid pocket. You know, listen to the people who really know how to do it. But it's for me, I've learned, you know, over time. You know, obviously I came up backwards. Like, I was the prodigy kid who had a whole bunch of chops, and people didn't think I could play with artists. And then as time went on, I was like, no, I could play with artists, and I started to do that. You know, and to be able to like dumb down, you know, my skills or chops or whatever, it wasn't really that difficult to me, because I like playing music. And then I also like seeing the other musicians smile and have a good time. And I think that means that the music feels good. So, you know, that's what I really bank off of when I play with, you know, other musicians, and that in itself also helps me stay disciplined, because I want everybody to have a good time. I want everybody to feel great when they play the music, and not give me the Scooby-Doo if somebody's like going crazy over a verse or something. Like, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I do. It really depends on the situation. I do like playing with, you know, what most people call a hybrid kit. So that's, you know, just incorporating electronics. I still love acoustic drums like that. I mean, to get the tone and all that, that's really important. I do trigger a lot of my drums sometimes. Like, for example, when I play with Jay-Z, I trigger my kick drum and all 3 snares, and I play the actual pattern. I actually have the sounds from the record. So, you know, none of the drums that you hear, like on concerts or anything like that, it's not in the Pro Tools. Like, it's on my drums. I'm playing the exact rhythm, you know, and it's great because it helps you. It kind of cancels out like any flamming that you might have, because, you know, I have the kick drum sound, you know, and just being able to have like claps and 808s and things like that to incorporate in your playing, it's just great. It's another way of being creative, you know, in your playing. So I love it, actually. To be honest, it's not like a real big preparation thing for me, you know. The only thing that I will say, going from different genres like that, completely different genres, like going to play with Jay-Z and then going to like a Joss Stone gig, which is, you know, like soul, like R&B, you know, that dog is loud. to go, maybe he wants to come do the interview as well. But yeah, going from that style of music to like Joss Stone, you know, to be able to like change my mindset, you know, it's a completely different thing. But you know what? For me, it just takes, really, to be honest, like a couple of songs for me to just like change that whole vibe, and then I'm good. You know, as far as preparing myself, it's just another day in the office. You know, having a good time playing, doing what I love, playing the drums. And like I said, that goes back to not limiting myself. You know, most people have a problem when you're not really open to a lot of styles of music, which means once you get an artist like that calls you and then have to switch, you feel uncomfortable, because now you have to go into your practice room and really get into that style of music because you haven't, you know, played it, or you're not used to playing it. For me, I've played all styles of music my entire life, so I'm pretty much comfortable with whatever, you know. And if there's anything that I do feel like a little uncomfortable with, it won't take me much time to, you know, to grab onto that and keep it pushing.
Yeah. This is going to be my motto: Jay-Z, another day in the office.
Yeah. 10 million views in like wishes.
10 seconds and million views, thank you. Another day in the office.
But it's great, man. Have an amazing time, you know. But you still, like, even then, I don't take it for granted either. Like, you know, I mean, I'm comfortable, but you can't get too comfortable, you know, because there's still some times when you can mess up. Like, there's still some times when things could be like a little confusing, regardless of what it is, you know. But you know, you just have to stay calm. It's about just really understanding and loving what you do, and I think that will help you really grasp onto the style of music and the artist you play, and that situation in itself, you know. And I think over time I've developed a way to just really just be comfortable, you know, and that just comes in time, I think, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Chambers.
Legend.
Metronome.
I am one.
Ouch. Ouch. Practice.
A must.
All-time favorite drummer.
Can't even answer that. Yeah, that's really hard, bro. No, you have to come back to that one.
Okay, so this is gonna be the last one. James Brown.
James Brown? Oh, he is funk.
Women.
Gotta love him.
Singers.
I can.
Your biggest goal.
My biggest goal, to make an extremely positive mark in life and for people to really remember me by the good things that I've done.
Kobe Bryant.
My manager thinks he's Kobe Bryant. He looks like John Legend. Kobe Bryant, also a legend, amazing player. He's great, nothing more to say, awesome.
Should I go back to favorite drummer?
Bro, do you have a favorite drummer?
Just one. Yeah.
Of all time?
Yeah, I do.
Who?
Bonham.
John Bonham. That's crazy. See, I wish I could just like answer that question, but because I grew up playing all styles of music, and because I like each drummer for something. Like I love Buddy Rich for his technique and his showmanship, but then I also love Dennis Chambers for his speed and pocket and his creativity. But then you can't leave Vinny Colaiuta out of the game because he's like, you know what I'm saying? It's really hard for me to like say this is my all-time favorite drummer, because I never really listened to one person for an extensive amount of time. It was like, oh yeah, this is him, you know. But maybe I'll think about that. Well, first of all, being able to still get called is great. You know, for you to still be relevant in the music industry, I think is an accomplishment for any musician, because musicians come and go. You know, so that in itself keeps me motivated. Also, money keeps you motivated as well. Some people say, you know, I just love playing drums, or I just love music. Okay, then what's your... I don't consider it a job. I consider it a blessing. You know, to be able to do what you love and get paid for it, I think it's great. And this is still life. You still have to pay taxes. You still have rent. You still have, you know, bills. So in itself, I think being able to do what you love and get paid from it, I think is great. Also, one of the biggest things is having fans that still love you over 10 years ago, you know, even when I first started, and for them to still be major fans, I think that's a beautiful thing, and I definitely don't take that for granted, you know. So to see them still love what I do and still interested to see what the next thing I have coming out, that's motivating in itself, you know. And as far as, what was the other?
What are your plans for this?
Oh, what are my plans? Right now, I'm in the process of really branding myself. You know, it's just different as far as just, you know, doing regular clinics and master classes. Now I'm really trying to become somewhat of a household name to a certain degree. I've already kind of started wetting my fingers a little bit in the acting side of things. So I'm acting a little bit. I'm starting to, you know, shoot some short films here and there, comedy films. So that's something I really like to do. Love being in front of the camera. Also, I'm going to be working on like my own project, my own album, because I really haven't had like a body of work that I really was happy with, as far as just music in general, not like DVDs or anything like that, but like an actual CD, you know, something for somebody to download of me and, like, you know, a band. The last thing I had was ASAP off of my DVD, and we made a CD of the actual DVD. But to actually have a body of work that I go into the studio with and record songs and come up with ideas and just be creative, that's what I'm planning on doing. After I finish touring with this girl named BB Rexa, she's an up-and-coming artist. She wrote songs for Rihanna, you know, amongst other. And then, you know, I never know who's gonna call, so Jay could possibly do something, or some other artist, so that's always up in the air. But as far as me personally, doing my album is the biggest thing, and that's it, and also getting into film. So that's my major things right now. Number one, first of all, make sure you want to do it because you want to. Like, make sure you play music because you have a love for it. You know, once people do it just because, oh, I have to pay this, or I have to get this money for this, then that's when stuff goes downhill. So do it because you love it, do it because you want to. And then once you embed that in your brain and you made up your mind, don't be closed-minded to criticism, from certain people who know what they're talking about. I'm still learning. I've been playing 29 years, whatever, but I'm still learning to today. There's always somebody that can teach you something. They might not be better than you, but as far as wisdom is concerned, you can learn something every day. And then practice also. And I like to say that practice makes progress as opposed to makes perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really hard for somebody to be perfect, in anything. So practice is progress. And don't get down on yourself. It takes longer for some people, to get to a certain level than others. It's all in time. But just stay encouraged, for the most part, and you should be fine. Oh, well, yeah, this is your boy, Tony Royster Jr. So happy to be here in Athens, and I'm looking forward to all the great things tonight and also the show tomorrow, and hopefully I can come back soon. Yeah? Peace and love. Boom!
Thanks a lot.